So, what if I told you that every single night your body could be fighting this desperate battle for air over and over again, and you might not even have a clue that it's happening?
Just try to wrap your head around this number. Up to, 40 times an hour, your breathing just stops. Your brain, of course, senses the danger, your body jolts, and you gasp for oxygen. Now, this isn't some bad dream. For millions of people, it's just another night. Welcome to Sleepedia, a corner of the internet dedicated to the science of sleep and circadian rhythms.
Okay, let's just dive right in. We're talking about sleep apnea, a condition that so many people just dismiss as, bad snoring. But here's the thing. That sound you hear, it isn't just noise. It's actually a distress signal for a much more serious problem happening just below the surface. So, what's actually going on in your body? Well, the best way to picture obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA for short, is to think of your airway as a flexible straw. When you fall asleep, all your throat muscles naturally relax. But for someone with OSA, those muscles relax so much that the straw completely collapses. Or maybe the tongue falls back and just blocks the flow of air completely. And the second that airway closes, your oxygen levels just plummet. Your brain senses this emergency and immediately hits the big red panic button. It sends a jolt of adrenaline through your system to force you to gasp for air. Now, you probably won't remember these micro awakenings, but they're happening all night long, constantly pulling you out of that deep restorative sleep and locking your body into a state of fight or flight. Now, let's tackle a huge misconception that has caused a lot of harm. For decades, sleep apnea was basically seen as a man's disease. And what that did was create this massive blind spot in medicine, where women were, and honestly often still are, completely overlooked or misdiagnosed because their symptoms can show up in a totally different way. I mean, just look at the contrast on this slide. It's pretty stark. On the left, you've got the classic symptoms we all think of. The loud, chainsaw snoring, the audible gasps that a partner would definitely notice. They're hard to miss. But then you look to the right. The symptoms more common in women are so much quieter. We're talking chronic insomnia, morning headaches, anxiety, fatigue. It looks like stress. It looks like depression. It looks like a dozen other things. And that right there is the diagnostic trap. Because those symptoms overlap with so many other conditions, they just get dismissed. So the crucial point here is this. If you're a woman and you're experiencing this kind of deep, unexplained exhaustion, it is so, so important to advocate for yourself. You've got to be able to go to your doctor and ask specifically about a sleep study. And it's not just about gender. Age is a huge factor too. As we get older, two key things tend to happen. First, the muscles in our throat naturally lose some of their tone, which makes them way more likely to collapse during sleep. And second, there's this really fascinating process called fluid shift. Basically, fluid that pools in your legs during the day actually shifts up into your neck when you lie down at night, adding physical pressure right on your airway. Okay, so let's build on that. A lot of people ignore the signs because they think, it's just snoring. But if snoring is the smoke alarm, then apnea is the fire that's raging just behind it. And now we're going to look at exactly why that fire is so incredibly damaging to your body. At the very core of the problem is something called intermittent hypoxia. And this isn't just about your oxygen getting a little low. No. It's about your oxygen levels being on this violent roller coaster all night long, plummeting down, then spiking right back up every single time you gasp for air. This brutal cycle triggers systemic inflammation that spreads throughout your entire body. And that inflammation, it doesn't just stay put in your throat. It becomes a problem everywhere.
It puts this immense strain on your heart and blood vessels, which leads to high blood pressure and heart disease. It completely disrupts your body's ability to manage blood sugar, dramatically increasing the risk of type 2 diabetes. And new research even suggests it can mess with the brain's nightly cleaning process, which is linked to cognitive decline and even Alzheimer's disease.
Now, a question that comes up all the time is, okay, but isn't this just a weight issue? And that is another one of those critical myths we really have to bust. Because while, yeah, excess weight is absolutely a risk factor, it is far from the only cause.
The truth is, your anatomy plays a huge role. You can be thin and fit and still have severe sleep apnea. A lot of the time, it comes down to what doctors call your craniofacial structure. Things you were born with, like a recessed chin or a larger tongue. It can mean there's simply less physical space in your airway to begin with, making it much more likely to get blocked, no matter what your body type is.
Okay, after all that pretty serious news, I have some genuinely fantastic news for you. For years, the words sleep apnea were pretty much synonymous with one thing: a big, bulky, loud CPAP machine. And hey, while CPAP is still a life-saving treatment for many, modern medicine now offers some incredible and far more user-friendly alternatives.
So first up, we have something called oral appliance therapy. Think of it like a highly specialized mouthguard, custom fitted just for you. It works with this elegant simplicity. By gently shifting your lower jaw just a little bit forward, it keeps your tongue and soft tissues from collapsing back into your airway. It's quiet, it's portable, and for so many people, it is a complete and total game changer. All right, this next one sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it is very, very real. It's called hypoglossal nerve stimulation, and it's basically a pacemaker for your tongue. A tiny device is implanted under the skin, and it sends a small, gentle pulse to the nerve controlling your tongue each time you breathe in. This moves it forward just enough to keep your airway clear all night long. How cool is that?
And for people whose apnea only really happens when they sleep on their back, there's an incredibly clever fix called positional therapy. It's a small wearable device that can tell when you roll onto your back. And when you do, it sends a gentle vibration, just enough to nudge you to roll onto your side, but not so strong that it actually wakes you up. It's just a really simple, elegant solution for a very specific problem. So, if any of this is starting to ring a bell for you, what do you do next? Well, getting help is so much easier than it used to be. It all starts with a simple conversation with your doctor. And the best part? You probably won't have to spend a night in some strange sleep lab. Ask about a home sleep test, or HST, which lets you get diagnosed from the comfort of your very own bed.